Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at something pretty amazing, something that can really help you launch your AI journey.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
It is. We're talking about the Cisco UCS C885A M8 server, a server specifically designed for AI workloads.
Okay, I'm already intrigued. I've heard some buzz about this server. What's so special about it?
Well, it's designed to handle everything, from building your first AI model to using it for complex tasks like, fine-tuning and inferencing.
So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for all your AI needs.
Exactly. And it's all thanks to Cisco's pretty comprehensive approach to AI. They've built a portfolio that covers every single stage of the AI workflow.
That's impressive. Cisco really seems to be going all in on AI.
They are. And the server is a great example of that. I've heard people say it's a real game changer, especially for AI training.
Oh, I can see why. Training AI models, especially large language models, those require a ton of computing power.
Yeah, they do. And a lot of people don't realize that.
It's like trying to run a marathon on a treadmill that's, designed for a leisurely walk.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, it just won't work. You need the right equipment for the job, right? And the UCS C885A M8 is like having a dedicated AI training track. It's specifically built from the ground up for those really intense computational demands.
Makes sense. So let's get into the specifics. What makes this server so powerful?
Well, it all starts with the CPUs. You have a choice between two powerful 4th-gen AMD EPYC CPUs.
Okay, so we have options already. What are the two CPUs?
There's the 9554 with 64 cores running at up to 3.75 gigahertz, and then there's the 9575F.
Wow, 64 cores. That's a lot of processing power.
Right, and the 9575F also has 64 cores, but it can hit 5 gigahertz.
Okay, so one is faster than the other. How do you decide which CPU to go with?
It really depends on what you're doing with AI. Think of the 95554 as like your reliable workhorse. It's great for a wide range of AI tasks,
Yeah.
especially those that don't need super fast processing.
Yeah, so you're saying it's a good all-around option.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're working with really complex models, or you need the absolute fastest training times, then the 9575F with its higher clock speed is probably the way to go. It's like choosing between a reliable commuter car and a high-performance sports car.
I get it. Both will get you to your destination, but the experience and the time it takes will be different.
Exactly.
So the choice of CPU really comes down to the specific AI application you have in mind. Makes sense. But what about the GPUs? I know those are really crucial for AI, especially these days.
You are absolutely right. GPUs are essential, especially for tasks like image recognition and natural language processing. And the great thing about the C885A M8 is you have options there too.
Okay, lay it on me. What kind of GPU options are we talking about?
You can go with 8 NVIDIA GPUs.
NVIDIA, okay.
Yeah, the H100, the H200, or the B200A.
Those are all pretty high-end, right?
They are. Or you can choose 8 of the really powerful AMD MI300X GPUs.
Hold on, so you can actually choose between NVIDIA and AMD.
That's right.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Why would Cisco offer both?
Well, it all goes back to that flexibility. Different AI projects need different things.
So some algorithms might run better on NVIDIA, while others are better suited for AMD.
Exactly. And by offering both options, Cisco is making sure you can build the absolute perfect system for your specific needs.
That's smart. Okay, so we've got powerful CPUs, flexible GPU options. What about memory?
Oh, memory is important. AI models can get huge.
Yeah, I've heard about that. They can
Like-
take up a ton of space.
Right. Large language models, for example, can have billions, even trillions of parameters. So the C885A M8 offers up to 24 DDR5 RDIMMs.
Okay, and those are,
Those are memory modules with speeds up to 6,000 MTs, so that makes sure your models have enough memory to operate efficiently. It's like giving your AI, a nice, spacious workspace to think and process information.
it's like giving your AI the mental real estate it needs to stretch its legs and get to work.
I like that. That's a great way to put it.
Okay, CPUs, GPUs, memory. What about storage? Where do we keep all the data for these massive AI models?
Well, for local storage, the C885A M8 can hold up to 16 2.5-inch U.2 NVMe SSD drives.
Those pretty fast, right?
They are, yeah. It's super fast for accessing data. And then there's also an M.2 drive for booting up the system.
So plenty of storage space then.
Yeah, lots of space to work with.
And all of that is needed, right? To handle those large AI data sets that we talked about.
Exactly. Training an AI model is kind of like Teaching a student, the more data you provide, the better the model will learn. And all of that data needs to be stored somewhere accessible.
So the C885A M8 is like a giant library where the AI can access all the information it needs to learn and grow.
That's a really good analogy, yeah. But it's not just about storage space, it's also about how quickly you can get to that data, how fast it can be moved around, and that's where the networking capabilities of the C885A M8 become really important.
That makes sense. With all these components working together, there must be a pretty robust network to keep everything running smoothly.
There is. It's designed to fit perfectly into an AML infrastructure. Think of it like a well-organized transportation system.
I like that.
There are different routes for different purposes, and that makes sure that everything gets to where it needs to go quickly and efficiently.
Okay, walk me through these different routes, or I guess these different networks. How do they work with this server?
Sure. So first we have the inter-GPU backend network. Now, this is a dedicated network that connects all the GPUs.
Okay, so all those GPUs can talk to each other.
Exactly, and super fast. It's essential for what's called distributed training, where multiple GPUs are working together to train a single model.
Oh, so they're all working together.
It's like a team of chefs working together in a kitchen, each specializing in a different part of the meal. You know, they need to be constantly communicating to make sure that the dish comes together perfectly.
That's a great way to think about it. So the inter-GPU network is about speed and collaboration between the GPUs. What about the other networks? What do they do?
Okay, so you also have what's called the front-end network, and this one connects the server to the rest of your data center or the outside world.
So it's how the server communicates with everything else.
That's right. It handles things like inferencing, which is where the trained AI model is used to make predictions or generate responses. It's also used for logging and managing devices that are connected to the server.
Okay, so inter-GPU for communication between the GPUs and front-end for communicating with the rest of the network. What else?
Then there's the storage network, and this one is specifically for accessing shared storage devices.
Ah, right. All that data we talked about earlier.
Exactly. It's often stored on those dedicated storage devices, and you access it through this network.
Got it. So internal communication, external communication, storage access, anything else.
One more, the management network. This is for managing and monitoring the server itself.
Ah, so this is how administrators can remotely access the server, check its status, update things.
Exactly, you get it. Update firmware and make sure everything is running the way it's supposed to.
Okay, so we have four main networks then. We have inter-GPU for collaboration between GPUs front end, for external communication, storage, for accessing the data, and management, for keeping everything running smoothly.
You got it.
It really is like a well-oiled machine, with each part playing its role to create this powerful and efficient AI platform.
Yeah, it really is. And to keep all of those components running cool, even under pressure, Cisco has designed this really efficient front-to-back airflow system with redundant hot swappable fans.
Sounds fancy.
It keeps the system cool and performing reliably even under those intense workloads.
Well, it sounds like they really thought of everything. But all of this power, I have to ask, it must come at a cost. What about power consumption? How much energy does this system actually need to run?
That's a good question. And yeah, with great power comes a need for power, right?
Right.
The max power consumption for the UCS C885A M8 is around 12.5 kilowatts.
12.5 kilowatts. That's more than my entire house uses.
It is. But it's also a lot of power, so I guess that makes sense. It's important to factor that into your data center planning. Make sure you have the capacity to support this beast of a machine.
It does sound like a beast. It sounds like Cisco has really engineered a remarkable platform for AI. But we still have so much to discuss, and I'm curious to learn more about, how it all comes together.
Well, there's a lot more to talk about.
So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I really want to hear more about the modular design of the UCS C885A M8.
Sounds good.
I'm guessing that's how we'll kick off part 2 of this deep dive, so stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about the UCS C85A M8 server and its impressive specs. We left off on the modular design, so what makes it so special?
Oh, the modular design is amazing. Think of it like having a server built with Lego bricks.
Lego bricks. Okay, I'm intrigued. Keep going.
It's all about flexibility and easy maintenance. The C885A M8 is basically divided into two main trays, the GPU tray and the CPU tray.
Okay, I see. So it's not just one big box with all the components jammed in there.
Nope. And there's a real advantage to that.
What do you mean?
Well, imagine you need to upgrade your GPUs later down the line.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of having to replace the whole server, you just swap out the GPU tray. It's a lot like upgrading the graphics card on your PC.
So it's quick.
Super quick and efficient, and it really minimizes downtime.
I get it. It's future-proof in a sense.
Right.
I can upgrade as AI technology evolves without needing a whole new server.
Exactly.
That's really smart. What about the GPU tray itself? We talked about all those different GPU options earlier. How did that work in the tray?
The tray is actually designed to handle both NVIDIA and AMD GPUs, so you have the freedom to choose the best option for you, for your specific AI workloads. And remember that inter-GPU network we were talking
Yeah,
about?
the super fast communication.
Yep. That ensures that all those GPUs are working together seamlessly.
Oh, okay.
It helps them sync their training states so everything runs efficiently.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So the GPUs have their own little party going on in their tray,
You got it.
communicating with each other at super speed, and I can just swap them out if I need to. That's pretty neat. What about the CPU tray? What's happening over there?
Well, the CPU tray is where you'll find the CPUs, obviously, but also the memory and other essential components.
The brains of the operation.
Exactly. It's also packed with I/O options, so you can connect additional devices and peripherals.
Okay, I/O options. Can you explain what those are? I'm still wrapping my head around all these technical terms.
No problem. I/O stands for input-output.
Oh, okay.
Think of it as like the server's connection points to the outside world.
Okay, got it.
They can be things like network cards for connecting to the internet, or other devices, or expansion slots where you can add specialized hardware.
So the CPU tray is kind of like the central hub for all the data coming in and out of the server.
Exactly.
And what about security? You mentioned earlier something called a DCSEM.
Yeah, the Data Center Secure Control Module.
What is it?
That's like the security guard for your server.
Okay.
It helps protect the system from any unauthorized access and make sure your data is safe and sound. Especially important, in a data center environment where security is really a top priority.
Right. Makes sense. It's amazing how they've packed so much into this server, but I do have to wonder, with all these components and all these trays, doesn't that make it really complicated to manage?
That's where Cisco Intersight comes in.
Ah, yes. Intersight, what is that again?
It's a cloud-based management platform that gives you complete control over your entire UCS infrastructure,
Oh, okay.
including the C885A M8. So you can monitor performance, configure settings, update firmware. You can even manage security policies all from one interface.
So even though the hardware is really complex, the management side of things is actually simplified through this cloud platform.
That's the idea.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's get back to something you mentioned earlier, serviceability. We were talking about those hot swappable fans.
Yeah.
What other components can be replaced easily like that?
Well, Cisco really understands that downtime can be a major headache, especially when you're talking about AI. AI workloads need constant processing. So they've designed the C885A M8 with several what are called FRUs.
FRUs. I've heard that term. What does it stand for again?
Field Replaceable Unit.
Oh, right.
It means you can replace these components yourself
Okay.
without having to send the whole server back to Cisco.
That's convenient.
It's like changing a light bulb. Very easy.
Okay, so which components are considered FRUs then?
Well, besides those fans we were talking about, the CPU and GPU trays themselves are FRUs.
Oh, wow.
Which is a huge advantage because if one of those fails, you can just swap it out, get a new one in there. You can also replace the power supplies, the drives, even the fans themselves.
Wow, so it really is designed for easy maintenance.
Yeah, it is.
I have to ask, though, are there any limitations to this? Are there any parts that can't be replaced in the field?
That's a good question. While a lot of the components are FRUs, there are some more specialized parts that might require sending the server back to Cisco for repair.
Okay, so it's a trade-off then.
Yeah.
You get incredible performance and ease of maintenance for most of the components. But there might be situations where you need to rely on Cisco support for those more complex repairs.
Exactly. It's important to consider, what your needs are, your organization's needs, and also your support capabilities when you're making that decision.
That's good advice. So we've covered the hardware, we've talked about networking, management, even serviceability. It's an impressive system. But how do you actually get started with this thing? What are the first steps?
That's a great question, and it's the perfect lead-in to our next topic. Cisco actually offers several what they call fixed hardware configurations.
Okay, what are those?
These are configurations that are specifically tailored for certain AI workloads. They take the guesswork out of choosing the right components, so you know you have a system that's ready to go right out of the box.
So they're kind of like starter kits for AI. They give you everything you need to hit the ground running.
Exactly.
That sounds perfect, especially for someone just getting started with AI.
Yeah.
Are these configurations available now?
Some of them are available, you can get started right away,
Awesome.
and others are coming soon, so there's even more flexibility coming down the line. And the best part is these aren't just hardware bundles.
Oh, what else is there?
Cisco provides validated solutions for AI, which includes compute, network, storage, even software components. So you're really getting a complete solution.
So it's like a complete ecosystem.
Mm.
I'm not just buying a server, I'm buying a path to success in AI.
Exactly. Cisco has done the hard work for you.
That's great. It takes a lot of the uncertainty out of starting something new, especially in a field as complex as AI.
For sure.
What if I have a very specific project in mind? Are these configurations flexible enough to handle that?
They are, and you can always upgrade or expand your system later on as your needs change.
Okay, so it's a truly scalable solution.
Yeah.
So let's say I've chosen my configuration and I'm ready to go. What are some of the software tools or frameworks that I should be looking at?
The AI world is huge, and it's always changing.
It is. It can be intimidating.
But don't let that scare you away. There are so many incredible open source libraries out there, especially for beginners.
Can you give me some examples? What are some of the popular ones?
Sure, TensorFlow and PyTorch are two of the most popular and widely used frameworks.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of those.
They have a user-friendly interface and lots of resources to help you get started. Another good option is scikit-learn, really powerful for machine learning tasks.
So those are all good starting points for building and training models.
Right.
What about deploying those models and putting them to work? Are there tools for that too?
Absolutely. Once your model is trained, you need to make it accessible. And that's where cloud platforms come in, things like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud.
Oh, okay.
They offer a range of services to help you deploy and manage your AI models.
So I can build and train my models using open source libraries like TensorFlow and PyTorch, and then deploy them on a cloud platform for others to use.
That's the workflow, yeah.
It sounds pretty seamless. What about learning resources? I'm assuming there's a lot out there for someone new to AI.
There is. The AI community is incredibly welcoming and supportive. There are so many online courses and tutorials, even communities where you can ask questions. Don't be afraid to jump in and get started.
That's really encouraging. It sounds like there's a whole world of AI waiting to be explored, and the UCS C885A M is the perfect platform to start that journey.
It is, and you don't need to be an expert to get started.
Yeah.
Just be curious and willing to learn.
It's all about embracing that spirit of discovery and seeing what's possible with AI.
Uh,
Before we wrap up, though, I do want to touch on something that I think is important: the ethical implications of AI. It's a powerful technology, so with that comes great responsibility.
You're absolutely right. As we develop these systems, it's so important to consider the ethics and make sure they're used responsibly, that they benefit everyone.
It's a conversation we all need to be having as a society. But for now, let's focus on how our listeners can start their AI journey with the UCS C885A M8. What are some final thoughts or advice you'd like to share? It really feels like Cisco has made this incredibly powerful technology available to just about anyone. You know, it's not just for these big companies anymore.
Right. It's pretty amazing.
I think anyone who has an idea and a passion for AI can use the C885A M8 to bring their vision to life.
Yeah, I completely agree. All the things we talked about, the hardware, those configuration options, the management tools, the fact that there's a whole ecosystem to support you. I mean, it's a game changer for anybody who wants to explore the world of AI.
So if you're listening and you're an aspiring AI innovator, what are you waiting for?
Nothing's stopping you. Cisco has taken away all the barriers to entry. It's really easier than ever to get started with AI.
And it doesn't matter what you're interested in.
Right. Natural language processing, computer vision, predictive analytics, whatever it is you want to do.
The UCS C885A M8 can handle it.
It has the power, the flexibility to get you there.
This has been an amazing deep dive. It's incredible to see how far AI has come.
And how quickly it's evolving, yeah.
And Cisco is making sure that everyone can be a part of it.
That's the best part.
But we've only just scratched the surface here.
There's so much more to explore.
The possibilities with AI are truly endless,
Right.
and the UCS C885A M8 is the tool to unlock them.
That's a great way to put it.
Before we let you go, though, I want to leave you with a little challenge.
Okay, I like this.
Given everything we've talked about today, what AI application are you most excited about?
Yeah. What problem do you want to solve? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world?
Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your ideas and follow along on your journey.
Absolutely.
And of course, if you want more information about the UCS C885A M8, you can check out the show notes. We've included links to Cisco's website so you can find data sheets, specs, even the server installation and service guide.
And don't forget those learning resources we mentioned. You know, those online courses, tutorials, those great AI communities.
So jump in, explore, don't be afraid to experiment. The future of AI is in your hands.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep innovating, and keep pushing those boundaries. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.